Chad, with you on this first question. You're running as an independent, but you've spent most of your recent working years as a staff aide to Democratic legislators. So are you really an independent, and how would you, as an independent, gather support for your bills in the highly partisan Congress?
I am really an independent. I left the Democratic Party in 2004. I was upset about both parties lying to us about the war, and later on how they handled the housing crisis confirmed to me that I was right. And you know what? I think I'll be really effective. I think there's a lot more political leverage being independent. And Mr. Denham goes to Washington and votes 97% of the time with the Republicans. You have zero leverage. You're just a Republican vote. Mr. Hernandez goes there, Mr. Barkley goes there and votes for the Democrat. You're just a Democratic spoke in the wheel. To get anything in politics, there's got to be a level of leverage, of strength, of not just being the one that always goes along. And I think that's what we need in Congress. So regardless of what the issue is, I believe that as an independent, playing hard to get, not always just being the first guy to show up to be with your party, I think that's gotten us in a world of hurt. I'm an independent, and on every bill, they're going to have to convince me that it's good for our area, this Central Valley. So I think maybe it's outside the box. You guys haven't seen it. There's 0 independents in the House, a couple in the Senate. I am not a Democrat. I will not go there and be a Democrat. I won't go there and be a Republican. I'm going to be a Central Valley independent. A guy they have to convince it's good for the Central Valley. And if the Republicans are right, I'm going to say they're right. And if the Democrats are right, I'm going to say they're right. But it is something the country's going to get to eventually. I might be a little bit early, but we're going to get there because both parties have messed up the place. Especially the last 10 years have been terrible.
Thank you. On your ballot designation, you listed scientist, teacher, and entrepreneur. So are you employed in any way as a scientist, and which, if any of these, provides your primary source of personal income?
Like many Americans and many college graduates right now, I would probably be considered unemployed. I don't have an income. I'm running for Congress to get an income. I'm running for Congress to
be honest
to fix it, and so currently I'm a scientist. I am working right now with a friend of mine. I signed a non-disclosure agreement about what we were doing, but I can say it's with hair care. Let's see, a teacher. I do teaching. I do home teaching through my church, and entrepreneur. I have my own business, even though it's not making any money because all the red tape that surrounds small businesses and just the political climate right now is not very good for paintball, and so there are things I'd like to do to get an income but I think I could really do a good job here in Congress, and I'd like to see myself there. That'd be fun.
Great, thank you. I should have mentioned, I apologize to the two of you, this is a 2-minute question, so you get the appropriate amount of time. I didn't mention it in advance. So, okay, Congressman. Over the years, you've portrayed yourself as an independent or willing to work on both sides of the aisle as needed to get things done. Now, in your first term, and especially in your first year in Congress, you aligned yourself with the GOP majority on virtually every major issue. Who is the real Jeff Denham?
It's been the same Jeff Denham all the way through this. It's been nice to do another election. I was just out at UPS this morning. 3 different people came up to me and told me 3 different times that I have walked their precinct and they got to meet me firsthand. People know who I am. I stand for something. I'm willing to buck my own party when my party is doing something I don't believe in. I mean, everybody talks about Don Parada trying to recall me because of the tax increase, but most people realize that Arnold Schwarzenegger was the one who came down here and said, turn up the heat on Denham because I wouldn't go along, get along. Nobody's going to pressure me. Nobody's going to bully me. Nobody's going to intimidate me into taking a position on something. I'm going to fight for the Valley, as I've always done. And I've always been somebody who's gotten both parties to work together. I've got a very proud record of what I accomplished in Sacramento. Number of members, Jackie Spear, for example, we worked on Donate Life together. I'm currently working on a bill with Sam Farr. we're on different sides of the political spectrum by far, but we find areas to work together on. Dennis Cardoza and I have worked on a variety of different water issues, including Exchequer. I'm working with McNerney on a solar project. I'm somebody who gets things done. I don't know how long I'm going to be in Congress, but the time that I'm spent there, I want to change this valley. I want to make it better for my kids, and I want to see a valley that continues to improve. So, I'm somebody who's going to work across the line to get things done, and I've got a proven track record of doing that. I'm going after waste. GSA, going after that waste has been something bipartisan, working directly with the President and the administration on property reform. It's something I'm proud of. So I don't think you can put any type of label on me on, what my record speaks for itself.
Have you voted on the majority votes that the House has taken? Have you bucked your own party on any of the major votes on the Ryan plan or any of those?
Yes.
Which would that be?
I know they've came back to me a couple of different times on big issues. I mean, you look at the overall voting record, you're including things like the journal and motions to recommit and a lot of technical items that, there are a lot of big issue items where I've stood strong and went against my party. Transportation bill being one of them very early on, especially when it came to truck weights. Certainly a lot of pressure here locally. There was a lot of trucking companies, a lot of ag companies who were very focused on that issue. And, again, I'm going to fight for what I think is the right thing for the Valley.
Okay. Mike?
When did you stop beating your wife?
No, but if you'd like to answer that one. Your views are very liberal or progressive. Do you think these reflect the views of the majority of people in the 10th District?
Probably not. But what I seek to do is to help make this a better Central Valley for them and for the congressman's kids, to dig us out of the holes that we're in. And for some of those things, my views are squarely with the people of this district. Door after door, when I visit neighborhoods, they are 100% in favor of bringing the jobs back to this country. That is the number one interest in everyone I speak with.
Okay. Thank you. Jose.
Yes, sir.
You have a compelling life story, but how does that translate to you being an effective representative for this district? What is your expertise, for instance, on the complex issue of water for farm, urban, and environmental needs?
Well, in terms of my expertise, one of the things that I pride myself being is being an independent thinker. As an engineer, you're trained to solve problems, and unfortunately, Congress is consists more of lawyers who are trained to litigate, and you translate that in layman's terms, they're trained to argue, and that's the problem that we have now. I'm a data guy. I look at the data, and what it tells me, that's how I'm going to make my decision. It's based on what I see. As an engineer, I'm trained to solve problems, and I'm also smart enough to realize that we have to work across the table. You can't do it if you're in extreme on one side or the other. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican or independent, but if you're in extreme, you're not going to solve the problems. With respect to water, everybody agrees that when we have a wet year, all farmers and everybody has enough water to utilize. However, in those dry years, that's when the issues begin. You've got the environmentalists, the Delta protection folks that want to protect the Delta, and we want farmers out downstream screaming that they need water to water their row crops aside from their trees. One of the things that I suggest is that, again, thinking as an engineer, instead of always dealing with who's getting the water and how can we slice the pie, let's look at the root cause. We have less water that year. Why not look at storage issues? Let's figure out how to store more water in Mount Shasta, with dams. Let's figure out how we can store water underground, so that in the south, so that when we have dry years, we can utilize those waters, and our farmers will have enough water every year, regardless if it's a wet year or a dry year.
Thank you very much. We, as I mentioned earlier, we wanted to give each of you the opportunity to ask another candidate a question in this race. Now, please keep in mind that we'd like your question to be brief, no more than half a minute, 30 seconds, and then we'll give the candidate who has been questioned 90 seconds to respond. And I guess it's probably reasonable to say that if you don't have one, that's okay too.
Okay.
This is just an opportunity if you'd like to ask a question to do so.
question yet.
Okay.
I can't think of one.
All right. Congressman.
Mr. Hernandez, you say that the president recruited you to move from Texas to back here to Stockton to run for office. Last debate, you said that when asked about Affordable Health Care, the Affordable Health Care Act, that it didn't go far enough, and you supported a single-payer system. What other ways do you disagree with the president who recruited you to run?
Well, I didn't say when I said I agreed single-payer system, it was with respect to Medicare with our elder citizens. That Medicare as a single-payer system is what I agreed for them. I didn't say it was single-payer system for the whole general population. So I want to make sure we clarified that point. The other areas where I think I disagree with the president is how he's handled the financial crisis with respect to how he's dealt with the folks that were the root cause of the financial crisis. I remember when I was a youngster, we had the savings and loan scandal back then, if you guys remember that. People went to jail for that because of that. I remember that. Here, have we read anywhere, has anyone been held accountable? Has anyone gone to jail? No. That's where I would hold him more accountable. He hasn't been tough enough on those issues. The other area where I think he's overextending his reach is in education. I think the Secretary of Education is overextending their reach to the state and to the local districts in terms of how we should teach our children. As a father of 5 kids, the school curriculum is being taught in such a way that they're being taught how to take tests, not learning the material. And that's because they're so worried about the money, the federal monies they're going to be getting based on performance. Let's figure out other metrics, like how many students high schools send to college. I mean, that's the way we ought to be measuring metrics, not having the teachers teach so that their students get good test scores. So those are the areas I disagree.
Thank you. Mike, did you have any questions for another candidate?
Congressman Denham, how many acres of almonds?
Our ranch is 20 acres.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jose, did you have a question for any other candidate?
Sure, for Congressman McNerney. For
That's Jeff. Yeah.
Jeff, yes. No, it's because I have McNerney on my mind here, and you'll see why. The question I had is, you had mentioned that McNerney and you are working together on this solar project up in Tracy. And I would ask you guys to verify what my claim is. I had a conversation with him in Tracy the other day at an event, and one of the things when he got up and complained was he complained about Mr. Denham not working with him on that solar project. It was a simple land usage deal that didn't require federal funds, and he wasn't supporting.
So the question is he or is he not supporting the
Right.
solar project?
To elaborate on that solar project, how he's supporting it.
Congressman?
Well, I think McNerney just issued a statement. You guys probably have the press release here on actually moving it out of committee and the two of us working together on it. So the Mayor Ives, who's endorsed me from Tracy, he sent out a statement too saying how great it was to have the bipartisan support and actually getting it done. It moved out of committee. We expect to have a floor vote here very, very quickly. It should be a bipartisan support on it, and I expect the president to sign it. I was just out at the solar fields and the wind farm yesterday, and it's an exciting project. It's something the Valley needs.
Thank you. Chad, did you have a question for any other candidate?
I might ask one of you guys something. No. Congressman, besides truck weights, give me one position you disagree with your Republican leadership in Congress.
Besides truck weights, well,
I mean, I know that's a heavy issue here, but you were top 10 in voting most reliantly with the Republican leadership. So just give me something that because I know by the end of this campaign you're going to be calling yourself an independent. So go ahead and set yourself up.
Oh, no. Make no mistake about it. I'm a Republican. I'm a very proud Republican. I believe in the values of our freedoms, and it's something that I fight for every day. I believe in Republican principles. I've fought on a number of different issues. Probably the most recent one, the one I've received a great deal of coverage on, is GSA. There are certainly some things in there that Republicans have supported in the past. I'm fighting to make sure that we have transparency within GSA so they don't have these slush funds that continue to go unwatched by the public, the same way that in the Obamacare, there's slush funds. And we have all these separate slush funds that go unmanaged, and I'm going to fight to make sure that not only do those slush funds not exist anymore, but in this case, I think GSA, it's time for them to go as well. I'd like to abolish the whole
But your leadership supports all those things. You're getting rid of GSA and looking at the slush funds. I'm talking about something that you did for yourself from Boehner. Anything?
He's not orange.
Okay. So we're to our final question, and as I mentioned before, this is a final 90 seconds for each of you to make any statements, either rebut statements made by one of your opponents or to offer concluding remarks on your own campaign or your own platform. And so as the rotation goes, Congressman, we'll start this with you.
Oh, first of all, it's been my honor to represent this community, not only in the state Senate, but in Congress. I'm somebody who's going to continue to fight for the Valley. Certainly my biggest issue is the $15 trillion worth of debt that continues to climb. That is a big issue for my kids and their future. We can't address all of the other problems that we have without addressing our national debt. I believe in energy independence. And all of the above approach needs to be an all of the above approach. I'm fighting for more wind and solar, but there's no reason that our hydro and biomass shouldn't be considered green energy as well. We shouldn't be exporting all of our coal. We should be utilizing our coal here where we burn it 10 times cleaner than China. And where we've got these huge oil reserves and natural gas reserves, we need to be using those too. I fought for my country. And, I'm willing to support national defense issues, but we shouldn't be sending our troops in harm's way over energy issues. And so those are two issues that are huge. But right now, our farming community has been under attack, whether it's the child labor laws that would get rid of FFA and 4-H. I mean, my kids work on the ranch. They prune, they drive, on the ranch, and it's an important part of our life. As well, the Dust Act, I wouldn't be able to have a tractor or shake my trees if the Dust Act went through. And then finally, we just got the Packers issue where they were going to not even allow Packers into our national forests anymore, and that was an issue that we've addressed. But certainly, you're seeing an administration that has gone well beyond its executive order.
Thank you very much.
I want to discuss one issue, and that's water. I would invite everyone to look up on Google the California floods of 1861-62. They are the single largest long-term threat to this state. There were 3 storms, first one December 9th, and 2 more over the next 3.5 weeks. They produced 110 to 120% of the entire annual runoff for the Central Valley in 3.5 weeks. There was a 300-mile-long lake in the center of the state. Every levee system I know of, which was Stockton and Sacramento at the time, failed. Since then, we have narrowed the channels and raised them with the hydraulic mining debris. If we had a repeat of that, no levee in the Central Valley would be high enough. This, if Don Pedro were full at the time such an event happened, you'd see 2.2 million acre feet in 3.5 weeks coming down that Tuolumne Channel. You could wind up with 8 feet of water in your first floor with body parts from Waterford in it. On my website, I have a specific plan for 34 million acre feet of storage, which would not only solve that problem, but every other problem that we have on water in this state. I didn't bring a copy, but it's linked here under water on my website.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jose.
Well, I'm running as a Democrat. I consider myself a moderate Democrat. Again, I think we need to be able to work across the table. We need to be able to address the issues associated with what's most important in our district. And again, that's jobs, jobs, jobs. After that, it's education. This Ryan budget that's being proposed, which was endorsed here by the congressman, talks about cutting aid to college students in terms of the Pell Grant. I mean, the Pell Grant hasn't been increased in years, and that's what's contributing to the high debt of our students graduating college. And we're going in a different direction. They're talking about reducing it so that effectively, on the average, they would receive less than $1,000 less in terms of tuition assistance to move forward. The Ryan budget also talks about making all the Bush cuts permanent to the wealthy. It consolidates the 6 income brackets to 10% and 25%. That means the wealthier who pay 35% get an effective additional 10% tax, translating into an average of $150,000 in savings for them. It also reduces the corporate income tax from 35% to 25%. So there's a lot of things that need to be worked on, but we have to work across the table together. And I think I bring the voice of reason to the table of working together as a moderate Democrat.
Thank you.
How long is this question?
90 seconds.
90 seconds.
Just real quick. The GSA, the event Mr. Denham's investigating happened 2 years ago. GSA has been wasting money for 10 years. It's the House's job to have oversight. They're supposed to watch what's going on. It's like the dentist that won't really fix your tooth to keep you coming back to fix that tooth. They never fixed the problem. Should have got rid of these parties long ago. And everybody in both leaderships say they're against slush funds, but they never get rid of them. My name is Chad Condit. I'm running for Congress as an independent. This county, this district deserves independence. It deserves somebody that's not going to go in or go up to D.C. and check in with Mr. Boehner or Mrs. Pelosi and see how they're going to vote. That's why I'm running. I want this district to have a congressman that is their most concern is the people of this district, not the people in the national party. I'm proud to live in the Central Valley. I'm proud to live right here. I don't have to go check with the Republicans or the Democrats how we're going to vote. Now you guys can say, well, Chad, you're living in la-la land. That's just how it works. Well, it's time we change it. And why not right here? Why not right now? The last 10 years have been terrible. Both these parties have not performed. It's time to really make a difference. And we can do that by electing an independent. So I ask for your endorsement, Modesto B. You're very important in this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The final word will be with you.
Great, say the best for last. Okay, so I'm the generation that's going to fix this, and I am the future. So here's the future right here. Infrastructure. Wi-Fi for everybody. Fiber optic lines to support the Wi-Fi. We're going to have high-speed rails. We're going to go back and up and down the state, going to Las Vegas. All these high-speed rails going everywhere, get there quick. We're going to have larger interstates with a truck traffic lane so that we don't have to worry about those stupid trucks. We're going to have more schools for everybody. We're going to improve the roads, make it faster to travel. We're going to increase the speed limit so we can go fast everywhere. Materials, we're going to make better metals, intelligent alloys. We're going to use quasi-crystals, which are going to make everything a lot better for everybody. Carbon fiber cars, it's going to make it lighter, better fuel efficiency. And then if we don't want to use fuel, we can use LiPo batteries, which are way better than the current lithium-ion polymer batteries that Tesla's using. Plasma engines for space, because we need to go back into space, we need to go to different places. And then we can look at this Casimir rocket, which was, I think, pretty cool. Laser weapon technology, I think laser weapons are way better than M16s and anything else we have. Northrop Grumman is working on it. We have that. We need to construct more wells. Military, we need to secure the borders with UAVs here in America. Not bring the UAVs into America, but secure the borders with it. We need to put Marines on the moon. We need to end foreign wars. We need to sell foreign bases. We need to reform our finances with using our gold storages and reform our currency. We need to have no more mudslinging in politics, no more fear-mongering, and everybody needs to chip in. We need to legalize everything, and we need to have the FDA revamped. We need a better Food and Drug Administration.